No hesitation, no looking back.
Skylar
The
Niece.
security camera mounted outside the Star City, West Virginia apartment complex captures everything. The timestamp reads 12:30 in the morning on July 6th, 2012. A 16-year-old girl climbs through a window, drops down onto a small bench she placed there herself, and walks with purpose toward a waiting car. Her stride is fast, certain. She knows exactly who is in that vehicle. She has no idea she will never come home. Because in the trunk of that car, hidden beneath the dark interior, there is a shovel, fresh clothes, towels, and a bottle of bleach.
A shovel and stuff like that? Oh, no. What type of people you were hanging around, girl?
Last time Skylar Niece will ever be seen alive. On this night, Skylar's only goal is a late-night joyride with the girls she grew up beside. On this night, the two young women waiting for her in that car have one single intention. They are going to take her out to a remote back road, and they are going to kill her. What unfolds over the next several hours is one of the most chilling, most heartbreaking true crime cases to ever emerge from small-town America. A case that began not with a stranger in the shadows, not with a predator lurking online, but with something far more disturbing.
Own people.
The months leading up to that July night were filled with warning signs that, in hindsight, are almost impossible to believe were missed.
Right.
The three girls, Skylar, Sheila Eddy, and Rachel Schoaf, had been a tight social unit since starting high school together in 2010.
Right.
But by the time
listen, we finna get straight into this, man. They said her own friends unalived her, bro. Now that's crazy, man. You gotta watch your friends, man. You gotta watch them friends, dog.
Year rolled around, the dynamic had shifted in a deeply unsettling direction. A rift had quietly begun to form between Skylar and the other two girls. Sheila and Rachel were growing closer, spending more time together, sharing a bond that was pulling them away from Skylar. They dressed alike. They kept secrets from her. They started treating her less like a friend and more like an inconvenient tag-along who knew too much. And that was the heart of it. Skylar did know too much. She knew their secrets. Things that no one else knew. Things that, if revealed, could seriously complicate the lives of two girls trying to maintain carefully constructed reputations. Skylar herself seemed to sense the power she held over them, even if she did not fully understand the danger it put her in. At one point, she posted to Twitter, quote, "I would tell the whole school all the stuff I have on everyone, which is a lot. Hashtag if I could get away with it." That tweet, casual and unguarded as it might seem, tells you everything you need to know about the tension simmering beneath the surface of this friendship. In late summer of 2011, during a sleepover, Skylar witnessed something between Sheila and Rachel that made her deeply uncomfortable. It shook the foundation of the group dynamic, created an argument, and widened the crack in the friendship that had been slowly forming for months. While Sheila and Rachel pulled closer together in the aftermath, Skylar found herself increasingly pushed out. She was still in the group, still invited to things,
Right.
but she was no longer truly included.
And looking at these pictures, it look like they just so good friends, bro. Like, everything just look like it's just so good, bro. You just never know what's going on behind closed doors, twin. Like, this shit is crazy. And we gonna keep playing it, man. It's just, man, you gotta watch your friends, man.
In the back of her mind, she must have felt it. Meanwhile, the behavior coming from Sheila and Rachel was escalating in a direction that should have terrified everyone around them. In October of 2011, fellow students and even a teacher overheard the girls having what seemed like a casual conversation about the best ways to dispose of a body. Now, to be fair, a real body had recently been discovered not far from where they lived, so no one immediately connected the conversation to anything sinister.
Right.
But one girl who was within earshot later said that the conversation was specifically and chillingly about Skylar. She went to Skylar with what she had heard. She told her that her two best friends were discussing how to dump her body where nobody would find it. Skylar's response? Oh, they're just playing a game. She confronted Sheila and Rachel about it. They assured her it was nothing.
Playing a
she
game
believed
on
them.
where you gonna dump a motherfucker body at? Not me. You need to be. I would have been trying to find an escape plan then. Yeah, man. Who says that, bro? No. What?
And just like that, one of the clearest, most terrifying warning signs in this entire case was brushed aside. But the red flags kept coming. In spring of 2012, worried that Skylar might use what she knew against them, Rachel allegedly told another student that she would not mind if Skylar died. In a science class, she reportedly blurted out that they should kill her, a statement followed by Sheila nodding in quiet agreement. These were not the offhand, dark jokes that teenagers sometimes make. The pattern was
Man,
becoming
that ain't no
undeniable,
joke, man.
even as everyone.
That's too sinister. That's too brutal. Why are we playing like that? What friend plays like that? I don't know. Do anybody know what friends that play like that? Saying that they don't mind that if their friend die, they don't care if their friend die. What friend is saying that? I don't know any.
Around them failed to recognize it for what it was. Then came the Myrtle Beach trip in early June of 2012. The three girls spent an entire week together at the beach, and by all accounts, it was one long, grinding argument. Whatever fragile peace had existed between Skylar and Sheila disintegrated completely over those 7 days. And when they got back home, Sheila sat down with Rachel and said it plainly. Skylar has to die. That was not a figure of speech. It was not venting frustration between friends. It was a decision. And Rachel, for reasons that remain deeply troubling to this day, did not walk away. She did not warn anyone. She agreed. The plan had been set into motion. On Thursday, July 5th, 2012, Skylar came home from her evening shift at
We got
Wendy's
some
at
weird
around
people
10
in the
p.m.
world.
She walked through the front door, went over to her mother, hugged and kissed her goodnight, then crossed the room and did the same to her father, Dave. Then she went upstairs to her bedroom. That was the last time her parents ever saw her.
Damn.
Around midnight, Sheila and Rachel either called or texted Skylar and asked if she wanted to come out for a ride.
Nope.
It was
I'm not coming out
not
to no ride. After I done heard what y'all were gonna say, nope, I'm not coming out. Nope. Nope.
an usual invitation. Sneaking out late for a joyride with friends was something Skylar had done before. She
Oh.
had a system worked out. She placed a small wooden bench beneath her bedroom window to help her climb out. She
Whole
left
time
the
my
window
friends was some
open.
snakes,
She
man.
left her contact lenses and her phone charger on her desk. She left the bench sitting right there outside, as if she fully intended to come back and use it again on her way in. She snuck out into the warm July night and walked quickly toward Sheila's waiting car. No hesitation, no fear, just the comfortable, casual ease of a teenager sneaking out to spend time with her friends. What she could not see, what she had absolutely no way of knowing, was what was waiting for her in the trunk of that car. The shovel, the bleach, the towels, the change of clothes. Sheila and Rachel had come prepared. The three girls drove out to Morse Run Road, a narrow, isolated one-lane back road that cut through the dark West Virginia countryside about a mile from any kind of civilization. Sheila parked. They all got out. For a while, they just stood there talking. Three teenagers on a warm summer night, and if you had stumbled across them in that moment, you would have seen nothing unusual. Just friends hanging out. But beneath the surface, a countdown was running. When Skylar turned and started walking back toward the car to grab a lighter, Sheila and Rachel exchanged a look. They had prearranged this moment. They had chosen this signal. Sheila counted to 3, and then they both pulled out the knives they'd been hiding under their hoodies, and they attacked her.
What?
Skylar fought back. She managed to get hold of one of the knives and inflict a cut on
Bro, I
Rachel's
bet she
ankle
was like,
before
"Bro,
she...
what the fuck y'all doing?" Like they was just doing like what did she think she about like what y'all doing? So freaking confused. You know how harmful that gotta be, dog? Her own friend stabbing her like that in the back, bro. Literally. What the fuck?
to the ground. But she was overwhelmed, outnumbered. 2 against 1, in the
Yeah.
dark, on a road where no one would hear her. She was stabbed. Over and over and over again. 50 times in total, as the postmortem would later
Damn,
reveal.
50?
50 times. She tried to run. She was brought down. And in her final moments, lying on that dark road with the trees closing in around her, she could only manage one word. One heartbreaking, unanswerable question.
Wow.
Why? Sheila and Rachel stood over her and watched her die. They'd planned to bury Skylar right there, but the ground proved too rocky for their shovels. So instead, they dragged her body to a large tree, covered her with rocks and branches, and left her there in the dark. They walked to a nearby creek and washed the blood off themselves. They disposed of their bloody clothing and their knives. They placed Skylar's cell phone, switched off beside her body. Then they got back in the car and drove home. By the time the sun came up, they were both back in their beds. The whole thing had taken only a few hours. The next morning, Skylar's parents left for work early, assuming their daughter was still asleep. It was not until midday that her
Oh,
father,
time
Dave,
she
came
was
home to
snuck
let
out.
Skylar borrow his car for her afternoon shift at Wendy's. He found the house empty. Skylar's bedroom door was locked from the inside. He noticed the bench sitting outside her window. The window itself was still open, just as she had left it. He called Sheila immediately. She told him she had spoken to Skylar on the phone around midnight but had not seen her. Dave's wife Mary came home shortly after, and then Wendy's called asking where Skylar was. The Neese family called the police. Then Sheila called back. She had changed her story. Now, she admitted that she and Rachel had, in fact, taken Skylar out for a late drive. According to Sheila, they had picked her up around 11 p.m. and dropped her back off at the end of her street before midnight. She said everything had been perfectly fine when they left her. It was a lie. A perfectly constructed, completely rehearsed lie. But at that point, no one suspected Sheila.
Right.
She was Skylar's best friend since second grade. She showed up at the Neese home that same day, along with her mother.
Grade, bro? What the? Bro, this is scary, bro. How can you do that, bro? It's somebody that you've been knowing for second grade, bro. There is some sick people in this world for real, bro. Like, we walking amongst, like, people that are demons in human form, twin. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Wanting to help. They knocked on neighborhood doors. They searched. They asked around. They found surveillance footage from a nearby apartment complex that showed Skylar getting into a car just after midnight, but nobody recognized the vehicle as Sheila's. Bizarrely, the car was even misidentified as an SUV when it was nothing of the kind. The police officer who reviewed the footage told the family, almost unbelievably, that Skylar had probably just run off with some guy and would be back in a few days. Do not worry about it. It remains, to this day, some of the worst advice ever given to a grieving family in a missing persons case. Sheila, meanwhile, threw herself into the role of grieving best friend, with what investigators would later describe as calculated precision. She distributed missing person flyers. She cried in public. She clung to Skylar's parents, offering comfort, asking questions, inserting herself into every update and development. She was performing devastation, all while staying one step ahead of the investigation. When police quietly warned the Neese family not to share details of the investigation with Sheila, she began routing her inquiries through other people, using mutual friends to gather information about how close the authorities were getting. Rachel, by contrast, was falling apart. While Sheila played the grieving friend with eerie composure, Rachel was shutting down. She did not visit Skylar's parents. She did not want to hear updates or discuss the case. She wanted to close her eyes, bury her head, and pretend none of it had happened.
Yeah, that sounds suspicious.
Anyone paying close enough attention could see that she was cracking. The school year started, weeks passed, rumors swirled. Students and teachers whispered about Sheila and Rachel. Some speculated that maybe Skylar had overdosed on something and the two girls had left her to die. Still, no arrests were made. The local police had nothing concrete to go on. Skylar's mother, Mary, refused to let the case go cold. In September of 2012, she contacted the West Virginia State Police, and they took over the investigation. Warrants were issued to seize electronic communications from both Sheila and Rachel. State police reviewed the...
Rachel she just tweeting like crazy stuff, bro. LOL, you know what LOL, yeah, you know what, I'm done. You know what?
Complex surveillance footage repeatedly until they finally made a critical discovery that the local authorities had somehow missed. Sheila's story was impossible. The footage never showed her picking Skylar up at 11 p.m. That part of her alibi simply did not exist. On December 16th, with 5 months having passed and still no official answers, Mary Neese took to Facebook with a long, detailed post. She laid out everything that had been done in the search for her daughter. She called out, implicitly but unmistakably, the inconsistencies in the stories told by Sheila and Rachel. She raised the possibility, the devastating, unthinkable possibility, that her daughter had been murdered. The post shook the community. Twitter erupted. Both Sheila and Rachel were flooded with accusations from classmates and strangers alike. The pressure became unbearable. Rachel got into a fight with her parents. She locked herself in her room and threatened to take her own life. She was hospitalized in a psychiatric unit. Investigators recognized the moment for what it was. Rachel was breaking. On January 3rd, 2013, police brought Rachel in for another interview. It lasted only minutes before she broke completely. "We stabbed her," she said. Just like that. 6 months of silence, of lies, of a carefully maintained cover story, and it collapsed in seconds under the weight of what Rachel could no longer carry.
Why?
She told them everything.
Why did you do that? Why did you stab this girl? Rachel? What was y'all doing? Was y'all jealous of her, bro? What the fuck? What was the reason, bro? What was the reason why you did that? What the fuck? That's freaking weird. Like,
The drive out to Morse Run Road, The countdown, the knives, the way Skylar had tried to fight back, had grabbed one of the blades, had cut Rachel above the ankle before they overpowered her.
Damn.
The way they had stood over her body afterward.
Was brutal.
The creek, the bleach, the rocks and branches
like
piled over her body.
A horror movie, bro. That's where they get this stuff from. Them horror movies, them thrill movies, them Lifetime movies. Y'all know them Lifetime movies. Where a friend be. Y'all know the movies I'm talking about. Those Lifetime movies where they be in high school, the cheerleaders, this girl here jealous of this friend. That's how they know how to make movies. Because it's stuff like that really goes on. It's called Lifetime. It just goes on in real life. This is crazy, man.
Dark. When investigators asked Rachel
Somebody
why they had done it.
Somebody you've been knowing since the freaking second grade? Yeah, they was never...
Two teenage girls had planned and executed the murder of their own best friend. She gave them an answer so hollow it almost defies comprehension. We just did not like her anymore.
What?
Rachel agreed to lead investigators to the body immediately.
Get the fuck away from her. You don't have to be around her. You don't gotta be around her no more. Shit, you just didn't like her no more. That's the best you... What? Just don't be around her. You don't gotta be her friend no more. You ain't gotta talk to her no more if it was that personal to you. You thought you were just gonna kill her and get away with it? Rachel?
She arrived at Morse Run Road with her attorney and the police, but several inches of snow had fallen over the weeks since the murder, and she could not pinpoint the exact location. There was nothing to do but wait for the snow to melt. The investigators knew what had happened to Skylar Neese, but without her body, without physical evidence, they had only Rachel's word. Sheila had not confessed to anything. She was still out there, still performing her role as the devastated best friend, still trying to stay one step ahead. Knowing that Sheila would want to meet with Rachel now that the pressure was truly closing in, investigators wired Rachel's room for electronic surveillance and had her arrange a meeting. It was a careful, calculated attempt to get Sheila on record. Unfortunately, Sheila was too guarded. Rachel was unable to extract anything incriminating from her during that meeting. But time was running out for Sheila Eddy, whether she knew it or not. On January 16th, 2 weeks after Rachel's confession, investigators returned to Morse Run Road with a canine unit. The snow had mostly melted. While the dog's handler was retrieving a GPS tracker that had slipped off the animal,
find that body every time.
He happened to glance down, and there, beneath a pile of branches and stones, he saw what remained of Skylar Neese. 6 months after she had climbed out of her bedroom window and walked toward a waiting car in the dark, Skylar was finally found. In the weeks that followed, investigators allowed Rachel to remain free while they built their case. They needed evidence against Sheila, and they needed it to be ironclad. They knew Sheila would never voluntarily confess. They issued a search warrant for Sheila's home, seizing every knife on the premises and her car. Sheila, by this point, knew the walls were closing in.
Right.
She knew the body had been found. On March 13th, the body was officially confirmed as Skylar Neese's. The announcement was made public. The postmortem confirmed 50
I want to know how the
stab
schools was. I bet the school was like, damn, bro, they really killed her like that, bro. Like, I bet everybody was so confused back in school. I bet they were like, what? I bet they was devastated.
The community reacted with grief and fury. Sheila, in a moment that revealed just how completely detached she was from normal human empathy, took to Twitter to post about it. The message was tone-deaf beyond comprehension, coming from the girl who had helped put those 50 wounds on Skylar's body. Then, about a month later, she posted again. No remorse, no accountability, just Sheila Eddy.
Yeah, they smiling like that shit funny. Bro, what the? These motherfuckers is really evil.
Investigation closing around her, still performing.
These motherfuckers is smiling, twin.
May 1st, 2013, Rachel Schoaf surrendered herself to authorities. She appeared in court for the first time and entered a guilty plea to the murder of Skylar Neese. In exchange for her cooperation and her agreement to testify against Sheila in any future trial, prosecutors agreed to recommend a sentence of 30 years.
Just imagine, they're in there because they don't like her. They didn't like her anymore. What the fuck? They're in there because they don't like her anymore.
Second-degree murder with the possibility of parole after 10 years. Sheila Eddy was arrested on September 4th, 2013, at a Cracker Barrel restaurant where she was having dinner with her mother. She was charged with murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. She entered a plea of not guilty. The pretrial hearing was scheduled for January 24th, 2014. From the moment Sheila sat down in that courtroom, she was visibly distressed, sobbing, clinging to her attorney. And then, before the proceedings had barely begun, she changed her plea. Guilty, first-degree murder.
Doom.
In exchange for the guilty plea, prosecutors agreed to a sentence of 15 years to life, with the possibility of parole after 15 years. The exchange in the courtroom that day was brief but chilling in its formality.
Eddie, have you heard what the prosecutor said the state's evidence would be?
Yes, sir.
Is that substantially correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that what happened?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Eddie, are you entering a plea of guilty to the offense of murder in the first?
It is the sentence of this court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. The sentence was entered with mercy, technically, making Sheila eligible for parole after 15 years had been
They
served.
gonna wish many days they had never done that dumbass shit. They gonna wish many days. Sheila and Rachel, have fun in jail.
Skylar's father, Dave,
Work
stood
hard
before
to
the
get there.
courtroom and delivered the words of a man whose entire world had been unmade.
The person sitting before you, Skylar's so-called friend, took her away from us without any remorse or feelings. You can look into the eyes of those who are responsible, but you can never hear what they heard as they were taking her life. You can see the faces of the killer, but you can't see Skylar's face. You can never understand the fear that she must have had as they took a knife and ended her life.
What the Neese family lost on that back road in West Virginia.
They were jealous of that
Dave
girl,
Neese made a
man.
vow on the day of sentencing. He swore he would attend every single parole hearing for Sheila Eddy for the rest of his life, if necessary, to make sure she never walked free.
And I know they're both in jail right now. One of them's been sentenced, one of them hasn't. After the other one gets sentenced, then we can start worrying about all that. But right now, I don't think it'll ever.
Rachel's sentencing hearing began on February 2nd. She received 30 years for second-degree murder with the possibility of parole after 10.
30 ball.
Both young women are currently
Gave
serving
her
their
Stephen
sentences at
Curry.
Lackawanna Correctional Center. In 2014, Skylar's parents filed a civil lawsuit against both girls and their mothers, arguing that parental neglect had contributed to the environment in which the murder was allowed to develop. The case never went to trial. It was settled for $5 million, though the likelihood of the Neese family ever seeing that money is, by most accounts, extremely low. The question
She's a
that haunts this
narcissist.
case, the question that has circled it since the moment Rachel Schoaf sat across from investigators and said what she said, is the question of why. Really why? Not the hollow, chilling non-answer Rachel gave in that interrogation room. We just did not like her anymore. But the real why. The one that digs beneath the surface of teenage cruelty
Yeah,
and
'cause I
asks
wanna
what
know.
kind of person plans the murder of a 16-year-old girl over a
They were
friendship
jealous
dispute.
of her.
Fellow students recalled the warning signs stretching back more than a year before the murder. The overheard conversations about disposing of a body. The classroom comment about killing her. The tweet that hinted at blackmail. The week in Myrtle Beach that ended with Sheila making a decision. Every single piece of it was visible, floating on the surface of daily high school life, and yet nothing connected in time to save Skylar Neese. She was a 16-year-old girl who worked at Wendy's, who kissed her parents goodnight, who kept secrets for friends who did not deserve her loyalty. She was, by every account, stubborn and intelligent and full of life. A girl who left her window open and her bench outside because she fully intended to
She
come
trusted
home.
them. That's
She was
crazy.
stabbed 50 times by the two people
50
she trusted
times
most
is
in the
brutal.
world, left covered in rocks and branches on a dark back road, and her
Man.
final question to the universe was a single word.
I think they were jealous of her, bro. I just think they was jealous of her. They talking about we just didn't like her no more. Like, what the fuck? Like, I've never even heard of that. Like, what? Cause y'all didn't like her no more? Like, bro, don't you know how many people, friends, get into it with friends, like each other, bro? Like, bro, just stop messing with them. Like, bro, like you did that. Now you finna spend the natural, man. Listen, it's what it that happened in 2014, 2012. It's 2026. They still in there. Like a bunch of big dummies. What are you doing? Because you didn't like somebody? You just threw your life away? Please, y'all. If y'all don't like no friends, if y'all don't get along with somebody, bro, just separate from them, bro. And you got to be careful on who your friends is and who you're hanging around with, man. Some people just don't like. I'm going to be honest. Certain people just don't like you, bro. Certain friends just don't like you maybe because you cute, because people just attracted to you. You don't have to have more money. You don't got to have more, like a car, none of that. People just hate the way you just do. You just exist. It's crazy, ain't it? Some people just don't like you, bro, just because you just being yourself. Things you can't even control. Crazy, bro. Man, if y'all came this far, man, y'all gotta watch out for them friends, man. You gotta watch out for them friends and be careful, man. But if y'all came this far, though, man, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. And I appreciate all the love, man. If y'all came this far, man, I love y'all niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Until next time, y'all, we out.